Okay, this is happening as we speak now, as load shedding moved to stage 4. We'll bring you some more of those details as the program continues, but that's just to let you know. And of course, it has some relevance to the interview we're about to have, because the government, Eskom, and the National Energy Regulator face the prospect of being hauled to court over their failure to manage the energy crisis by a group of prominent citizens, including Adv Thembeka Ngcukaitobi. And while the president was at first headed to the World Economic Forum, which kicks off in Davos, Switzerland this week, the president cancelled to deal with South Africa's energy crisis. So the move has been met with mixed reaction between those who applaud it, those who say he missed an opportunity to allay fears about our country's stability, and then those who ponder what difference it will make to the provision of power. Political analyst Prince Mashele joins me now. Good evening to you and welcome. I know we were meant to have a Zoom call, but you've been load shedded, so it's going to be a telephone call, and you would have just heard the news now. We're going down to stage 4. One wonders how long that's going to last. But does it make any difference, Prince, the president staying in the country and giving up that seat in Davos?
Thanks, Iman, and for inviting me, and greetings to the viewers. It's very clear that the president's cancellation of the trip doesn't make any difference, because you and I, as we speak, viewers can't see me, and the president is at home, so he's not helping us. But on a serious note, it's not for the first time that the president is either cutting short a trip from overseas or cancelling a trip, promising to deal seriously with the energy crisis. He has been doing that, but there have never been results. So to be honest, there is nothing that will come out of the fact that he is here at home. He will not build a power station over the next few days. He is not going to stop load shedding over the next few days. It is a PR exercise by the president.
So you say basically, in a word, that he is ineffective. His office tells us he's meeting with the political leadership, the National Crisis Committee, and the board of Eskom. It doesn't sound like you believe they can pull a rabbit out of the hat.
There is nothing. I mean, we know the problems of Eskom. Eskom's problems, in the main, revolve around the fact that Eskom has an old fleet of power stations. That's the bottom line. That actually explains almost 80% of our load shedding problems. We know that Eskom, over the past 25 years or so, under the leadership of the ANC, has attempted to build 2 power stations, that's Mudupi and Kusile. And these 2 power stations are incomplete. Now, no one who is sane would believe that a meeting between the president and the Eskom board and whoever today or tomorrow can build a power station. No one who is sane can argue that way. We know this cannot be done. Remember that when he became president of South Africa, he promised us that within 18 months, we would have forgotten that there was a thing called load shedding. That was back in 2018. Is there load shedding in South Africa after that or not?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, there is load shedding. So we must not be fooled by these meetings. These meetings will produce absolutely nothing, because this is not the first meeting. There are many meetings that the president held with officials at Eskom as well as members of his cabinet. And these have not prevented load shedding. In fact, load shedding has worsened since those meetings.
Well, let's look at the statement that Eskom put out just a few moments ago. It says over the course of this week, 14 generators are expected to come back to service, and this is going to relieve the burden on the power system. So they are talking about a range between stage 4, Tuesday morning, and then stage 5 daily after that, between 4 in the afternoon and then 5 a.m. It is also, however, warning that there is uncertainty with regard to this announcement. Are things moving in the direction we need them to be moving in, Prince?
No, they are not. Here's the thing, and that's the thing. You see, this is like a yo-yo, going up and down every day. Eskom can tell you today that 14 units are coming back. What they can't tell you is how many units will break down tomorrow. That is the problem. What we know is that Eskom is managing a very old fleet of power stations, and those fleet of power stations can break any time. Eskom does not know when that will happen, which is why it can't tell you if you are going to have stage 6 or stage 5 or stage 2 of load shedding in 2 weeks' time, because they have no clue what is going to happen. And that is the biggest problem. You will never solve this problem by issuing a statement and telling us how many units will come back online. You need to solve this statement by doing major things. 1, you need to build new power stations to replace old ones. 2, you need to jack up nuclear capacity. 3, you need more renewable energy private suppliers into the system. These things, the statements they are issuing, as well as the useless meetings the president is having, will not produce.
You know, I was going to share a little bit more of the statement with you, which is about the volume of diesel that Eskom's managed to procure, and some of what we can see just in the statement they've released, what their plans, at least in the immediate, are going to be. But as you say, the question is it sustainable? Does it have longevity? And are big things being done to ensure that we insulate ourselves from load shedding? But we as taxpayers, Prince, are being pressed to fund one failure after the other. Of course, we think about the AG's report and the state of the SOEs, but I'm also thinking specifically about NERSA and Eskom, among others. And despite the gospel that's being peddled about Eskom's debt having advantages, there's strong sentiment that there is significant risk involved in that debt. How is the turnaround? Of course, we've heard about unbundling and all, and that's a subject for another day. But where do we sit right now in loosening this tight knot of complicated interests as well as nefarious intentions that are holding Eskom ransom?
Look, so that we understand quite clear what is going on here, let us not be caught up in technicalities that will make us chase our tails. Let's identify the core of the problem. Here is the thing. The ANC government was handed over a well-functioning Eskom in 1994. The ANC government over the past 28 years has not been able to invest in infrastructure in Eskom, number one. Number two, over the past 28 years or so, the ANC government has mismanaged the finances of Eskom to the point that Eskom is so bankrupt and it owes too many lenders for about 400 billion. That is the core of the problem. So if you want to fix the problem, we must not focus on the small technicalities that are throwing up in the statement. We must say, number one, remove the big problem, which is an incompetent and corrupt ANC government. That's number one. Number two, you need to build infrastructure and you must deal with the debt that Eskom owes. That is massive. And if we don't do that, by the way, it does not matter how many meetings they have, we will keep on having load shedding.
Prince Mashele, thank you very much for sharing your perspective with us tonight. We appreciate it.